are going to be using origami, the Japanese art of paper folding, to study geometry, the mathematical science of studying shapes and their angles. We will be folding a jumping frog and using our knowledge of geometry to both create and modify our creatures. When you're ready, let's get started. Okay, first we are going to start with our square piece of origami paper. Now, we are going to take one edge of that paper and fold it over. Our square is now going to become a rectangle. Alright, I'm going to make that crease. Alright, let's keep the flaps of our rectangle open to our right side. And what we're going to do now is we're going to make diagonal creases at the top end of our frog paper. Take this corner right here. We're just going to bring it to the opposite edge of our rectangle. And fold that down. I'm going to open that back up and now do the opposite. Open that back up, you'll see that we have a nice little X right here in the middle. And where these intersect, we are going to want to make a line across. So you can flip your paper over and bring that down. We're going to bring this corner down to where that line ends. That way our creases of our X are right on top of each other. You can tell you got it right when you can see the whole triangle right here and right here along your paper. Increase that, open it back up, and we're going to flip back to our original side. Now when you poke the intersection spot, you'll notice that it popped and these little flaps kind of want to come in. We're going to go ahead and bring them into the center closer together. And we now have an isosceles triangle right at the top of what used to be our rectangle. Okay, so now we are going to take the bottom half of our rectangle and we're going to fold it right up to the base of our triangle. Push down to form that crease. Once you're set with that, we are going to take these flaps frog. Now these are going to be non-right angle triangles, and if you remember, right angles are 90 degrees. We don't want them perfect. So we're just going to pull them out a little bit, crease them down. In origami, everything is symmetrical, so whatever we do on one side, we are going to try and mimic it on the opposite side. Look at these great little triangles, kind of like a V right here in the middle. Otherwise, if we had 90-degree angles, it would be a closed V, and our frog's feet wouldn't be open as far to support it. Okay, now we are going to take these side edges. We'll start with one side and do the other, like we've been doing so far. We're going to take this side edge, we're going to form a narrow body of our frog. In far. Now here's the tricky part. And it's okay if you get a little frustrated. Just take your time and go slow with this part. We have this top little flap that you can see. If you open it up, it makes a pocket. We're gonna just tug on the top part and pull it out. I stick my finger in here, and now we have a different kind of triangle. You want to double check if you got it right. You can see this angle right here. There's a center crease that will line up with the side of the frog's body and another triangle, okay? We're gonna do the same thing on this side. Stick your finger in the little flap just to pop it open and pull only on the top part of that flap to pull out that froggy's leg. And then just push it down. They won't bounce as much, so we're going to go back and take this edge and make it meet our crease that we already have. Just pull this right down there. This edge meets our crease. Now this is something you can play with once you decide how you want your frog to look and what you think works best. Remember I said they have to be symmetrical. In the end, it should look kind of like an X between our 4 feet of our frog. Now if you decide you want to move your angles of your triangle so the feet are out a little more or in a little more, that's something you can experiment with and see if it changes the jump of your frog. As far as our frog goes, its body's made, but he's not a jumper yet. In order to do that, we have to take his body and we're going to make a zigzag crease. Now here's another part where you can experiment. I'm going to pull back just probably to where his knees would be on each side. And that means holding in this part a little bit and folding back on it. That down, not too hard, but enough to make a mark. And then I'm going to fold right back on top of it. So the top edge of my little froggy meets the other edge. If you want to see from the side, you can see it made a little zigzag crease in there. And he now looks like our other friend. Just going to put a little bit of pressure on his back, pull him back. And with some experimentations, they will hop and even flip for you. Now that you've had time to experiment with your creation, I would like you to take some time to write down your observations about geometry in regards to origami. What modifications were you able to discover improved the jump of your frog? And what modifications did your friends make? Whose frog jumped better, and why do you think this is?